This is the EG Oahu, kind of a cruiser electric bike, and it's pretty powerful. It's got a 500-watt internally geared rear hub motor with a 48-volt, 10-amp-hour lithium-ion battery. Now, EG has a whole range of bikes. They tend to be a little bit more affordable and kind of basic in some of the parts, but also fully featured. So when I say basic, I mean, you know, this display kind of reminds me of a King meter display I've seen, but just it doesn't have like the same labels. Even the button pad here is a little bit more generic. You kind of see that on like the lights. It's got them, but they aren't wired in, so it means that, you know, you have to replace the batteries occasionally and remember to turn them off after a ride. So not a bad thing. Definitely keeps the price lower. This is about $19.99, so just under that $2,000 mark. And EG has another bike called the Maui. So these are both you know, islands in Hawaii, the Hawaiian island chain, and they both have that powerful 500-watt motor, 48-volt system. So that means it's going to go a little bit faster. They're actually speed pedelecs. So in throttle mode, it can go 20 miles per hour. In pedal assist mode, you can get higher, up to maybe like 28. But what's interesting about it is it uses a 12-magnet cadence sensor. So a lot of times on pedal assist, speed pedal assist bikes, they use like a torque sensor or some kind of advanced speed sensor. This one, it just uses a cadence sensor, and it is fairly responsive, but what that means is you don't have to really push, you don't have to overexert yourself to get the motor going at those higher speeds. You just need to shift into a higher gear, and the cassette really enables that. It's an 8-ring cassette here, so the largest ring, kind of the highest gear, actually keeps the cadence pretty smooth at those higher speeds. So it's thoughtfully chosen parts on this, and Shimano Alivio, it's maybe a step or two up from the bottom. It's, you know, decent component group here. We've got a set of little trigger shifters up here near the right grip with a little window, so it's the micro shift from Shimano. Good stuff. You know, basic flick bell, ergonomic grips, or kind of semi-ergonomic, padded and stitched. They aren't super duper soft, but they do feel nice. They give you something a little bit bigger to hold on to, and they tie in the black and white paint job. So I do like that. I might jump back to some of the extras that they've included here. The fenders, I like those. Kind of plastic, but they're fairly good length on those, and some nice extra supports. Got the mud flaps going on. The rack, it uses standard gauge tubing and has a little bit more of a pannier blocking setup at the rear. 4 attachment points, bolt on, easy to tighten down if you need to. I actually like the tires. They've kind of got that checkered, kind of a hybrid tire design. I guess this would work all right on like a trail or just on concrete, you know, bike path. Kenda tires, 26 by 2.125, so a little bit fatter, you know, not too bad. Gonna give you a little bit of cushion along with this basic suspension fork. So this is SR Suntour XTC. It does say that it has preload adjustment, but there's kind of one of these dials on each side, and I don't know if they have to be perfectly matching or one side's going to be softer, or, you know, there's no lockout. It's a little bit more basic, but I like that it matches, and it definitely smooths out the ride. It actually complements just the overall feel of this bike really well, because it's fairly low, and 26-inch wheels, that, you know, that's kind of like average size, but that keeps the bike a little bit lower, more stable. This length right here for the seat tube is about 17 inches, maybe 16 and a half, which is very similar to the Maui. The Maui is the step-thru version of this bike. The interesting thing about it is that sort of this reach length is a little bit longer, so it's maybe like 26 inches versus the Maui, which is 24. So for guys, really, you know, there's kind of like a his and her theme going on with these bikes. It's a decent reach. I like the saddle. A little bit of cushion there, but if you want to sort of increase that reach, you can kind of angle the stem down a little bit, or you can bring it back up, and you can, you know, spin these handlebars a little bit too. And they are these swept back, a little bit oversized handlebars, and that helps to dampen some of the vibration on the road and just give you an upright, kind of relaxed seated position. So I like it. Like they've obviously thought through all the different parts. They match, they look good. It's just a little bit, you know, a little bit more of a mid-level bike. And you see that again in areas like this kickstand. Not my favorite kickstand in the world, because you kind of can't activate it without pushing on that little nub. And even when it's fully retracted, the bike kind of leans a lot. Like if you look at this, it's sort of leaning to the side. Maybe a little bit easier to drop, or the handlebars kind of turn out like that. The wires are decent. They're all kind of hanging out at the front, but once you get to the frame, they're tucked away and they sort of run through the frame in parts too, and then kind of along that bottom bracket area. And there's a little bit of an extra thing here. Is kind of a controller box sticking out. You can see the plastic peeled up a little bit. It does a decent job. There's no bottle cage. I don't know if one would fit right here or not, but that's okay. We've got the rack. You could always add something later. As far as stopping power on this, I've got good Tektro brake levers. I like these ones because they've kind of got the rubber upgrade. They've got motor inhibitors, so they cut power to your pedal assist when you activate them. Very nice and important if you're at high speed and pedal assist. And they're mechanical. So we've got 180 millimeter rotors with Tektro Novella calipers, front and rear. That's decent. Again, sort of, mid-level stuff. And these nice Welgo pedals. I like the platform style. I prefer the little bit larger ones, but these ones, they look good. They've got kind of the rubber grip going on and some nice reflectors all around. So really, whether you're riding in rain or sunny days or night or whatever, this bike should be good. And for the price, you get a pretty good performing bike. I wanted to call out, this is a 28.6 millimeter diameter on that seat post. So if you want to make it even cushier, you could get like a thud buster or something and put it on there, suspension seat post, and really do well that way. Maybe it's time to get going. So again, I weighed the bike, about 56 pounds total, and the battery pack here is about 7 pounds. It's a Dolphin style pack, so it is removable and locking, which is nice. It's got a little LED power level indicator built in. You can kind of see it here, red all the way to green. And here's the charging port. Right next to this port is a USB, kind of a female connector. So if you have a phone charger, you can plug it into this, whether it's on or off the bike, and kind of use it as backup power. Or maybe you've got one of those phone mounts. I don't know where you'd put it up here, but a lot of times I'm listening to a podcast or music if I'm just cruising around. Make sure you keep an ear peeled though for obstacles or people or sirens though, for safety. So anyway, back to the battery. To activate it, you just press this power button right there and it kind of lights up blue, and immediately the display comes on. A lot of times there's a second switch or something you've got to press to get the display, but not in this case. So I think that's kind of cool. You've got your basic battery readout here. It's like 6 bars to indicate your charge level. Then you've got your pedal assist. It started in 2 over here, but you can go all the way down to 0. And in 0, the throttle works. So this does have throttle only mode, which is nice. It also has throttle override. So when you go all the way up to 25, again, the throttle's still gonna work. But if you're pedaling, even if you're not using the throttle, as long as you're pedaling, you can get up to those higher top speeds, making it a Speed Pedal X. So very cool. Miles per hour right there in the middle. And then you've got your trip distance. And over here, you can kind of arrow up or down between those assist levels. And then if you press mode, it changes to your trip distance or your total distance. So good stuff, kind of what you'd expect. I think that's a great overview, kind of an introduction to this bike. I'm gonna go ahead and hop on. I feel like it's pretty balanced, and they improved on the design. Some of their older designs had rear rack mounted batteries that, it just creates sort of a crack the whip on the frame, and it takes up space, and it means you're gonna have to tighten the rack more frequently and stuff. And I really like the down tube style that they've gone with, especially on this black bike. It blends in nicely. So, and the chain guard, check that out, so your pants and stuff aren't going to get all messy. I'm just going to go ahead and gun it with the throttle. Yeah, really zips you up to speed. Kind of a nice seating position here, a little bit more relaxed. I can see where I'm going. Brakes work well. Perch. And that pedal assist is really responsive because of the 12 magnet design. I'll try to show you that. There we go. I can definitely hear the motor more, and I think that's partially because it's more powerful, but I didn't see an indicator. There was no label. I'm not sure if it's an 8-pound Bafang motor, which I've seen on their other bikes, but you know, it's performing well, kind of as expected. Again, $19.99 for this bike. That's the EG Oahu 500EX, 500 for the 500-watt motor. For the full write-up on this and other EG electric bikes, I'll see you back at ElectricBikeReview.com.